Hello, everyone. Welcome to our Inspiring Thoughts podcast today. So we're really lucky to have Sinder Gill with us. And Sinder is the Behavioural, Cultural and Change Manager at Derbyshire Constabulary. So Sinder, great to have you on board and welcome aboard to the podcast.
Thank you for having me, Stephen. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, really good, and it's great that we're both going to be talking about a subject today we're really passionate about, which is coaching and the benefits of coaching, which is great. So before we get going, so Cinder's had 7 questions from me already today, so that she's got preparation time, etc. So that we really make use of this time. However, before we get going, so that people get to know Cinder, etc., would you mind just telling us about your brief career history, what Cinder got up to? That'd be great.
Yeah, I have worked in a private industry when I first left school as an apprentice, and that was interesting for a few years. Then I got married and we moved area, and then I actually ran a business with my ex-family, and then I joined Derbyshire Constabulary. So I've been there 28 years, but different roles. I've done vast amount of police staff roles in the organisation, and it's a great organisation to work for. They've really looked after me, and I've really enjoyed my career. And currently, as you say, I'm the business change as a behavioural cultural change manager. So I'm enjoying this role very much.
Yeah, and 28 years. Wow.
Yeah.
That's a career, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I bet you've seen lots of change and different things happen and adaptability over that period of time, haven't you?
Yeah. But all good. I mean, it's a great force and a great one to work for.
Yeah. And I know when we spoke off air before about your passion for kind of your job and your coaching and that. So I thought it was just great to get you on a podcast to really get our audience to listen to kind of the benefits of coaching. So should we dive into the questions that are kind of sent out and we'll go from there. So and just to share with everyone, Cinder and I probably can talk till the cows come home about coaching. So we'll condense it down to see where we think are the most appropriate today. But a lot of people say to me about, and I think a lot of people get confused, Cinder, between coaching, mentoring, therapy, counselling. Would you mind just sharing in your own words, what is the difference between those kind of 4 key big players in the self-development world? What would you say the differences are?
Yes, you're right. People do get confused. And coaching isn't counselling, it's not mentoring. Counselling has its part. Counselling, there's a lot of counsellors out there, mentors out there that play their part. We're all in this together. We're all in it to help people's lives and help self-development. And counselling is more about having that chance to be listened to and our thoughts and our emotions heard, so we feel calmer. And mentoring is about learning a particular skill, but coaching is a type of therapy, as I like to call it, a type of therapy, in the sense that it's got more of a challenging approach to the way we actually think, and helps us challenge how our minds are conducting our lives. I have 2 grown-up boys. They are very successful and they're working really hard. But it was my son actually who introduced me to coaching. And this is over 10 years ago, and his firm assigned him a coach to work with. And I could see such a change in him. And he said to me, "Mum, you should try this. I know that you want to take a different path in life, give this a go." And I goes, "Oh, it's not for me, it's all for the young people out there to get coaching." But my interest grew, and I did actually go and see the same coach that he saw. And I request that everyone do research about it. There's a lot of coaching that goes, a lot of coaches that advertise differently out there. There's live coaches, there's coaching. I suggest that everyone does the research, because there's a lot of different methods and different ways, which we're going to talk about today. And so people understand what particular method I use and how I adapted to this. And it's probably due to my career, because when I went looking into this, I like something that's evidence-based, coming from a policing background. And I like something that's I've worked in a fast-paced organisation. I want fast-paced results. So something that gives me evidence and gives me a solution was something that I was after. So coaching does fall into that for me. It's challenging, but it's rewarding. And I can talk a little bit more about the structure behind it, if you like, Stephen, or did you have another question?
No, so I think well, I just echo the same position as you there. So I fell into coaching because I was coached myself. So I had
Yeah,
through work a
yeah,
challenge at work, and someone said to me, "Why don't you, have a coach and see how it's?" And I was probably about, I think
yeah,
about 14, 15, 16 years ago, and I was like,
yeah,
"Whoa, what's this coaching thing about?"
yeah.
And wow, I was blown away. But it was a gentleman called
Mm,
Eric, who I'm still in contact with on LinkedIn.
mm,
But he really helped me just clarify my thoughts, give me
mm,
time to talk and
mm,
breathe, and that makes sense. But then for me to come up with the solutions and ideas to go forward rather than him mentoring or telling me. So I just echo your bit there about your son saying, giving it a go and trying it.
mm,
We all need
mm,
to have a go or see how it goes with it, isn't it? I think it's one of those ones. And once we've been there, we kind of fall in love with it, don't we?
mm. And that's right. And I still keep in contact with my coach, David, who I was in touch 10 years ago. He changed. I say this, you need to have a rapport with the coach.
Yeah.
You need to make sure you've got that rapport. So I think it's important that you find and you're very make sure that you're having that. Having that connection with your coach, because I work with men. I'm doing some men only sessions, and they tend to relate to me because I'm a woman. So sometimes we relate to the opposite sex. So it's important to find out who you get that rapport with and who you feel comfortable with.
Yeah.
But a lot of coaching, when I decided that this is working for me, I wanted to study it. I wanted to know more.
Yeah.
So I went into studying it. So I got my qualifications in master coaching, timeline therapy, um, and all kinds of. And I've also got a counselling level 3 qualification. So with all that kind of knowledge, I put it into my own package and deliver it my way. So I have a different approach to perhaps many coaches as well.
Yeah. And the point again, there's an array of coaching that's available, isn't it? It's
Mm,
not just one size fits all.
yeah,
And the areas that you specialize in versus I specialize in are different. It is
yeah,
for people to go and find out that coach they
yeah.
want to work with. And I
Mm,
really love that bit about rapport, because people, once you build that rapport, that trust, then the honesty
yes,
comes forward and the real
yeah.
growth. And I say to people that I work with, sometimes we may not get along and I may not be the right person for you to
Mm,
coach or
that's
work
right. Yeah.
with, but
Mm,
test and find out. It's a bit like a product, isn't it? Of go and find the
yeah,
product you like. That's the same with coaching. It's an array of kind of information and help for people, but spend that time really finding out a good coach and actually the area you'd like to work on. I think that's imperative, isn't it? It's really, really key.
definitely. And
Yeah.
that was my first conversation. I'll never forget the first conversation I had with my coach. It was challenging. He said, "Well, what do you want from me? What are you doing here?"
Yeah.
And I'm paying this guy to actually talk to me like that. And I go away thinking, what was all that about? Driving home, but he's so deceived. He's so deceived because coaching's challenging, is
Yeah.
challenging you and your kind of reactions to things and your thought patterns and behaviors. Because from the age of 7, we start storing our experiences
Yeah.
and we in our unconscious brain, and we haven't got the cognitive reasoning to understand what it's all about. And suddenly, when we are in adulthood, after about 25, we've stored all this unconscious brain and we're acting on it. And we don't even know we're acting on it.
Yeah.
So we say, oh, why is this always happening to me? What's this about? And that was what I really, really was a light bulb moment for me when I went into coaching, thinking, it's actually me doing this. It's actually me. And that was a very much a change. And that's why coaching can be powerful.
Yeah. And the bit you touched on again there, Cinder, is about paying for it. So you're what I've the hurdle I got over many years ago of I'm probably the most important person I need to spend money on to develop myself to get better
Yes.
and help
Yes.
my career or help my
Mm,
family or those kind of things.
mm,
Whereas so many people think, well, I'll have a coach, but I don't want to pay for them. Whereas
yeah.
they're quite happy to go and spend, £100 on a meal or £200 on
Yeah.
a day out. Whereas actually really spending money on themselves to develop. But once people get past that and they see the benefit, then people go, do you know what? I actually want to spend money on me for a change
Yes.
rather than something that's not going to help them as a one-off materialistic thing. Would you find that
Yeah.
as well?
Oh, definitely, Stephen. And that's what, and that is the exact phrase my son used to me. How much money can you put on yourself? How much
Yeah,
money is there that you can spend on your self-development? You know, how can you not do this? How can you not become more resilient, more resourceful, make better decisions and become a better you? What money can you put on that? What price is that?
yeah,
What is it? And generally, I think people need to think of its cost of living crisis out there. People need to think about their finances and what they can afford. But there is there is people to go to. Go to the coaching world. We will always, if somebody comes to me, I will always help them and put them onto other coaches
yes.
that I know that would help them. So just make that call. It was one of the best calls I made.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And what would you say is why would people go to a coach? So from your experience, it's probably the $64 million question, but why would people go to a coach?
Do you know how I answer that, Stephen? It's absolutely simple for me. I'd say to them, why not? That's my answer. Why not? Why would you not want to? Why would you not want to be your best project that you ever touched? Because if you're not a full, grounded person with managing your maze of thoughts in your brain and going into that rational range and not in the unconscious, you're going to be better for other people. So your best project is you first. Put you first. What do they say on the plane when the gas masks come down? Put your mask on first before you put someone else's. It's you that's got to fill your cup. And that's why I say, why would you not? I'd love this. This is why I thank you for the podcast, because I want to spread this word. I want people to understand. I wish they could do it in universities just as children leave for the world. Get them coaching, get them to do some self-education to manage their thoughts. I know we're getting better and better as a country, but we're very, very far behind. I mean, you've got countries where therapy is just normal.
Yeah,
It's just normal to have a therapist that you go and see now and again, or a coach, whatever you want to call
yeah,
it. It's just that time for you to build. We've got 50,000, 70,000 thoughts running in our brain every day. How are we going to, that
yeah,
unconscious is constantly going. Go to a coach to manage it. Go to a coach to understand it. So you can start working in your rational brain. And the things that you build your brand, build you. I think we're all a brand. We're all
yeah,
in this world to sell. If I stand here, anywhere I go, if I walk in, you have your interviews, you walk into a meeting, you walk in your family, everywhere we go, into a shopping environment, we're selling ourselves. We're a brand. Build your brand, build you. Build that brand where you can go anywhere. You can sit with yourself, you can sit with your family, you can sit at work in a meeting, and you're you. You're always your authentic you. That is what coaching's about. What's coach going to help you for? So it is a great question, isn't it? And if you do that, you will go more into your positive mindset
yeah,
from your negative, because we're all trained to be in negative. And why not? Why not go and get help to find solutions for your life? You've only got one life. You came into this world the same and you'll go the same. We're all the same. Human psychology isn't going to change. We're all born in the same way and we'll all leave in the same way. We've got that same brain, all of us. And it was not going to change. No COVID, no government, no wars are going to change human psychology. Whatever happens, our biggest muscle that we don't train. We can build our bodies, build our health, but we don't train our muscles. Biggest muscle of our brain that's going to lead us. So
yeah,
my answer is why not?
yeah. And I think the bit if everyone would be able to pick up your passion then coming through of why not. I get that over the screen, Cinder.
Yeah.
And I think I love it. There are a couple of key words I picked out there. That the biggest project. We are a
Yeah.
project to be worked on
Yes.
and developed, and that mind, that muscle to be worked and used. I mean, we only use a small part of our brain through our lives. So, try and use
Exactly.
as much as you can. And I
Yes.
really love the bit about you touching about brand,
Yeah.
because actually we are all a brand.
Yeah.
Whether it's on email, social media, we interact
Yeah.
with people, whatever we do, we are a brand,
Yeah.
and people do look at us or judge us by it, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And I definitely think coaching has helped me over the years improve my brand, those kind of things, improve my values, my integrity, those kind of really good centric things that kind of push your brand out to other people. if that makes sense. So I just a couple of things I picked up there, and it goes back to, I just recommend, why not? Let's just caveat that phrase, Cinder. So why not, if we do
Let's
that
do
point of view
it.
as well? So
Yeah,
what
definitely.
would you say are the 3 key benefits of coaching that you've experienced or seen or felt yourself? What would you say the 3 key benefits are?
Picking up from what we're just talking about, the brand, how wonderful will it be if you can just sit with yourself on your own, with your family and at work, wherever you go, to be you? How can you not? And that the 3 kind of ones that really stick out for me is then you become authentic.
Yes.
You're authentic, you're honest, you're real. How are those 3 things in your life make you excel in whatever you want to do? People say to me, well, I haven't got great ambitions of being a millionaire. I haven't got great ambitions of being a film star or a singer. Well, we're not talking about that. We're talking about just the life that you've got now,
Yeah.
with the people that you've got around you and your work. And how would you not want to live that way anyway, in
Yeah.
whatever you're doing? We're not asking you to go off. A coach is not going to make you, if you go and see a coach, oh, I only see and go and coach because I want to make $1 million, or I want to go and do this business. Or no, it's just about your life that you've got now. Whether you want to go off and do something else, that's what you discuss with your coach. You
Yeah.
say, well, actually, coach, I want to make $1 million. How am I going to do this? Well, that's your conversation to have. Go to your coach with real goals and aspirations, but the meaning of coaching, until you can do those goals and aspirations, you've got to get authentic. You've got to be honest with yourself, and you've got to be real.
Yeah. And it's really good. So picking up on those phrases there about being authentic, actually going into that coaching, wanting to learn or needing to learn to develop yourself to become a better person. And I love that honesty, because coaching allows you to put that mirror up against your face to have a good look. You may not want to look at that mirror and move around, because I've done that as well, going, how can I get around this mirror because it keeps looking at me? And then I think about being the real self, because if so many organizations could get people coming to it being them real selves, just think about that from an inclusivity point of view, a well-being point of view, a productivity point of view. The power of that is huge, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. And this is what picking up on that is, that's why I got it from my son. That organization understood that. They were a very big organization that understood if they put money into the people, if they put some money behind these people and get them coaches, get them being their authentic, honest, real self, well, they're going to have a great employees, aren't they? Happy employees that are going to not only be happy at home, they're going to come to work being happy. So their investment pays off because they get the productivity. They get them happier. They get less sickness records. They get less people going off with stress because they're going to see their coach.
Yeah.
So, and coaching also gives people a chance to be creative, because we're creative beings. We are born to be creative. Creativity is took out of us through society, through our governments, through what we have to do, the have to do. Do you know, suddenly you hit the adulthood and suddenly creativity is pulled out of you. But coaching gets you to become honest with yourself, like you said, looking in that mirror and looking at that child that's still there.
Yeah.
That still wants to play, still wants to be creative, still wants to be fun. But I can't do that. I can't do that because this is happening and that's happening. Well, you can be creative.
Yeah. And I think going back to that childlike, I remember being at a conference many years ago that they said they gave children a paperclip, and they asked them how many things to come up with they could use with that paperclip, and it was something like I'm exaggerating, it could be like 100 or 150 ideas they'd come up with this paperclip. They gave the same paperclip to a group of adults and they come up with 5 ideas, because they said you can't do that, you can't do this. So the creativity was lost, whereas a coach enables you to go back to that present and be in the present and allow those creative ideas to flow through, to see the world in a different way, and actually things you can do rather than things you can't do. So I find that power really, really powerful. And that stuck with me kind of for a very long time, about with children really getting that creative mindset. So I really echo that as well.
Yeah, definitely, because we are still that child. We haven't lost that child in us. We are still that child. It's not gone away. We need to go back, help coaching or help therapy, whatever somebody feels comfortable doing. But please, I always say, please go and find your creativity, go and find your child again.
Yeah, nice. And that's a lovely phrase there, isn't it? So when we send out a podcast, I'm sure we're going to use that phrase about go and find your children's creativity again. I'm sure we'll steal that one from you, Cinder. So I definitely think we will.
Okay.
So I know when you and I spoke before, when we've been off camera, etc. But I know you've done a lot of work around NLP.
Yeah.
So that helps people out. What is NLP? Could you just talk a bit more about it in coaching world?
Yeah. So, like I said, I've done various kind of courses and stuff, but NLP, I'm a master coach in Neuro-Linguistic Programming. What I studied there was understanding people's self-talk, what you're actually saying, what's behind those words that someone says to you. Because people say, oh, this has happened and that's happened, and someone said this and someone did that, and I feel like this, and it was all their fault. But neuro-linguistic programming is a training that helps us work with those phrases that people say to us and uncover what's actually going on behind those phrases with that person, that self-talk that they're using, and that pendulum. They're on this pendulum, swinging from that way, swinging from that way. And as we talked earlier, what coaching and all this package I deliver will help people stay a bit in the middle and start being honest with themselves and listening to that self-talk and understanding what they are really saying to themselves. Because really, it all starts with the thoughts that they say. Because once you're thinking something, it turns into words.
Yeah.
Once we're saying it, we start making it a habit. And suddenly, it's become our daily practice. And suddenly, our lives saw this. So I take people backwards. Let's go backwards. You're acting on a thought. Now, tell me about the thought that you're having. Oh, well, it's so and so and so and so. No. Your thought and emotion. What is your emotion and your thought about this? And people, I have to get people to really calm down, drop their shoulders, breathe, take their time, because they're generally in that state of anxiety, wanting to rush and tell you everything. And then suddenly they take that time and they take that breath. And they says, well, I think this. And it's quite a revelation for some people, thinking, well, actually, it's me that's thinking this. It's not about that other person. It's not about what's happened to me. So that is where powerful neurolinguistics can help people. And I found it very fascinating. Like I said earlier, that I wanted evidence and I wanted some quick way of getting to some solution. And I found that very, very quick, fast-paced of trying to iron out what someone's saying.
Yeah, and it's taking that person back to see it for its trueness, isn't it? And I think, I don't know if I've just made up a new word there, trueness, but it's taking them back to that point of to have a look at themselves and then re-piece it together. And you're right. And I was just sitting there thinking, wow, how many words have I, or thoughts I had over the years, that I suddenly tell people I'm not very good at technology, or I'm not very good at this. And actually, do you know what? I can turn a TV, or I can do a computer, I can do a podcast. So it's those kind of things that you just want to unravel, isn't it? To go back to what is that initial thought and then rebuild again. For that kind of person, it's fascinating, isn't it? And is there any other examples you've got for NLP, how you would use that with your clients or with colleagues? Is there any other things?
I've got a great, I can pick one great example for you. A lady came to me and said that she's got no confidence. She tries to apply for jobs, doesn't ever get them, struggles going in a social environment, and it's affected her life. It's affected her life. And she said, my face doesn't fit. Everything, it's the way I am. It's just the way my life is. And when I was trying to unravel her about why aren't you confident? You've come to, it's getting down to the root cause of why someone's saying something. So we'll do the whys. Why? Why? What's going on with this? Before we can even look at applications and whether you're going to a party and you don't feel good in social life. Well, why? What's going on here? Why? So as we delved down into her why, she actually came up herself. This is the point of coaching. I've just got to help them come up with their own solutions and their own maze of thoughts. And she came up, she says, well, when I was young, my parents got divorced. I was only 10 years old. And my mother was shouting at my father down the phone and arguing about me when he was going to collect me, whether I was going to see him. And the phone gets slammed down, and my mother looks at me and said, "This is all your fault.
Yeah.
It's all to do with you, this trauma." And I ran upstairs crying. And she says, "I don't know why I've just told you that." She looked
Yeah.
at me and I goes, "Well, there you go. You have been holding something in your unconscious that you didn't even realize you was holding, but has affected your confidence." And she had a powerful moment there. This is how quickly you can unravel what people are saying. Yes, it does. That's why I do call it similar to a therapy, because it does go back to childhood issues. And because someone once said to me, "I don't want to sit here talking about my childhood for hours and hours," but I say, "I don't want you to, because I will stop you. I will challenge you on what you've just said. And you will come up with some experience that you have stored to understand what you're doing." So I say to her, "Well, you're not 10. You're not 10 years old. You're a 45-year-old clever woman. Why are you holding on to that? Why are you telling me about that memory? It doesn't give me no evidence to say that you're not confident now. That was something that happened to you in the past. It doesn't mean nothing now." So she goes, "Oh my God, I didn't really realize that. I don't know where that came from. And I told you." So it's a bit of the moment like that that really helps people understand what they're holding on to.
And it's fascinating what people, and we all do in our lives. So you and I are not immune, Cinder, of things that we hold on to in our lives. But it's amazing that giving you that space or that breathing thing that can come out from the deepest depths of coming out, that people can get those light bulb moments of, wow, actually, that's just, where did that come from? And I can see now how I've been this way or perceived, etc. And it's amazing through coaching, when you can unpick those layers, that people then do that real vision, that real honesty to go, actually, that's something I can change, and it is in my control to do, rather than a self-defense mechanism, isn't it? Sometimes to go, I can't do this because, and it's something they hold on to, but it's just that. And I think it also goes back to that trust that they've got, the relationship with you that allowed it to come out as well, isn't it? It's really, really important, that trust element as well, isn't it?
Yeah, and that's right. And because she uncovered that, it was a great next step to say, "Well, give me evidence that that moment is anything to do with you. Your parents got divorced. That was an unfortunate situation. And was it your fault?"
Yes.
And she said, no. So why is it that you are holding on to something that was never your fault? Give me evidence why you're holding on to something that, what happened to you at 10 to affect your confidence now at 45. It's got nothing. It was just a memory that we need to, that you have been running on, thinking that everything is your fault, or it's affected your self-esteem. So she really moved on that. And because I do think what you think, you do become. So if you're holding it there, you become it. So unless you understand it, you can't change it. So a coach can help you, and neuro-linguistics really help you with the language. It's great. It's a great way of uncovering what people are actually saying to themselves. Because often I've said to my coach of years ago, I'd say, "Thank you, thank you." And he said, "What are you thanking me for? You've done it yourself. I haven't done anything. I've got the tools to make you see it for yourself."
And it goes back again. If we're telling ourselves those things, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy, isn't it? That it's more likely to happen because we've told ourselves it's going to happen, and then we go and then we beat ourselves up going, "Well, I knew that was going to happen." Well, you've actually made it yourself, haven't you? So it's a great way of going back and unpicking. And I think when people come out of coaching sessions, they should feel a little bit tired. They should feel a little bit emotional roller coaster that they've gone on. They should feel challenged. They shouldn't come out of a coaching session and go, "Well, that was just lovely." It is there to challenge and push them into kind of, not uncomfortable in an unsafe way, but really get them to see themselves, to then allows them to move forward. Would you agree with that as well, Cinder?
Definitely, because it's not like I said, we said earlier, didn't it? One size doesn't fit all. It's not for everybody. I always say, try it. They might not like it. People might not like it. And I've had people come for me one session and not appear again, or they don't like it, which is fine.
Yeah.
Coaching isn't, we're not saying coaching's for everybody. It's not. It's another mechanism, another therapy, another way, another type of solution that you might consider for yourself. And it is just, all it is, it's just changing the words that you're using to yourself. It's, and you, like you said, it can, I mean, I did it myself. I've been coached myself, so I can't coach. I understand it. I drove away feeling drained. I drove away thinking, I don't know what just happened there. I
Yeah.
don't know what I'm supposed to do with that now. Was that worth it? You know, I've asked those questions to myself. I still coach myself. I still, sometimes I will keep in contact with my coach and he'll go, well, what are you contacting me for? You're a master coach yourself, coach yourself. Because, and that's a great phrase I love using as well. I'm in this to help people coach themselves.
Yeah.
Let me help you with the tools. Remember the tools and use them.
Yes.
Because once we've uncovered something about that self-confidence in that lady, because it's the same tool you need to do when you're realizing that you're doing something else that's not perhaps working for you, or a future episode.
Yeah. And that gives me to echo that gives me a great buzz as well when people self-help, and they don't need to keep coming back to me and paying me money, because that's and I won't take it, because it's about, actually, I want them to go and live their lives and be free to do things, rather than come back, because then it becomes a bit of, they're holding on to you as another kind of crutch or leverage. We want them to, I want people to stand by themselves and actually enjoy their lives. And I think that's the other thing to think about with coaching. It could be a short burst. It could be one session. It could be three sessions. It could be 6 sessions. It could be 12. It's whatever tailored to that person. But don't be beholden to, it's a big project, because some short bursts of coaching could make the world of difference to that individual.
Yeah, definitely. I couldn't echo that more than how you said it. It's totally right. People say to me, oh, you're a coach. How many sessions do I need? You might just need one. I've had people who come to me for one session and they contact me again in probably a few months' time, or say something, still remember what you said, still doing what you said. And that's all they needed. I also do some sessions with groups, and they sometimes come along and they've been to all my groups and they don't even talk. They sit there and they listen. But those people often get back to me with the feedback and say, I just needed a refresher. I just needed to listen, to give me another burst of that. So therapy, you know, we're here, aren't we? We're all here as coaches to be needed. We're here when you need us. We're here for you to get that another reminder, that another thing. You might go through a life-changing episode that you think, I just really need, I can't talk to family, can't talk to colleagues at work. I don't want to just keep going over my feelings. I want to really talk to someone who's going to push me forward. Counselling, like we said earlier, plays its part for people to get that emotion out. And I was the same. I've had counselling when I had a bereavement in my life. You see, we're not going to escape these things as human. Like I said, human psychology and human life, we're all in it together. We're all going to face bereavement. We're all going to perhaps face relationship problems, divorce, etc. We're all going to face our career problems, redundancy. It's for all of us. And still, one of the greatest stresses is moving house. I've had people say, this has fallen through, that's fallen. They're not going to change. We've got a cost of living crisis where mortgage rates are going up. People are losing their houses. People are struggling out there. These things will always be there. But what coaches can provide is giving that tool to go to that calmness and try and find that solution through those thoughts. Because people will say, well, there isn't a solution. There can't be a solution, but there is always a solution. And until we can calm the words that they're saying to themselves and that dark place they're in, and move them through that dark place, that's when they'll start thinking of a solution. Because generally people will blame. That's where we go to, blaming.
And what would you say are the main benefits? Because I'm not a practitioner in NLP, so that's not a specialist area that I look at. What would you say are the main benefits of NLP, the work that you do with colleagues and clients? What would you say is the main benefit that you found as well for yourself?
Oh, absolutely. That's a great question, because the benefit is watching people sitting there. And that's why I do this work. It's so humbling to see somebody help them change the words that they're saying to themselves, and in a moment their eyes and their body language turns to just say, if I could just, why didn't I see it that way?
Yeah.
And helping them see it in that different way, and that, not, like we said, not blaming what somebody else is doing to them. And and a lot of the things, the benefits of NLP, we move people away from criticizing, judging, comparing, and move them from that negative mindset, and to take accountability of what they're actually saying to themselves.
Yeah.
And accepting that actually it's me that's saying this to me. There, you know, and I'm the one that needs to be honest with myself and start looking at what the situation, because everybody says, oh, there's a problem, there's a problem. Well, yes, but in that present moment, which I need to bring, this is a great way, benefits of NLP as well, is to bring them back in that present moment, because those words are saying are spiraling from the past, from the future, and I'm bringing them back to the present moment and saying, what is your problem right now? What is it? Because right now, if you just change your words and the way you're seeing it, there isn't a problem.
Yeah. And it goes on to there, which I just picked up the word you said about accountability.
Yeah.
Because this is key with coaching, about the person being accountable, they're owning their own actions.
Yes.
Because we all know, you know, not just in coaching, but in life, if we tell someone to do something, they're not as likely to do it unless they've come up with the idea themselves to take forward. There's more ownership, there's going to be a better result and all that kind of stuff. And I just like this, that within coaching, we try and give that grounding that the colleague is in control of their outcome, their destiny, those kind of things. It's not us going along telling them what to do, because if we did that, that's more mentoring. But also the colleague will come back next week and go, well, I had a go at that idea you gave me, Cinder, half-heartedly. Can I have another idea? And then another idea. They never really own it. This is really centric here, that people own and are accountable to then move forward, and then they feel really good by it. That hit of dopamine in their brain to go, yes, I did it and I achieved things. That keeps them going, doesn't it? If that makes sense.
Yeah, totally. And I've talked about a snowball effect, and the snowball effect happened to me. So I can't teach this unless it happened to me. So I'm evidence that, and my sons, we were evidence that it does happen. And my son said a great phrase to me: if I'm not evidence to you, Mum, I don't know who is.
Yeah.
You know, who else is going to give you evidence? This is what can work. So I have to give people that evidence. They say, oh, you're a master coach, so I bet everything's fine in your life. You know, I bet everything you sell through things and you do things great. And I goes, no, I'm human. I've got a human brain just like yours. But what I found is, once I know me, I know the tools, and I know how to deal with my thought processes, because I know where they come from. People say to me, so you get rid of your limiting beliefs, you get rid of trauma. No, you don't get rid of it, you manage it.
Yes. Yeah.
You never get rid of, you don't get rid of, oh, will you get rid of this belief I've got? Will you get rid of this trauma? No. What I'll help you do is manage it so you can deal with it. And why? And I often say to them, why do you want to get rid of it? I sit with these amazing people in front of me with their amazing stories of what they've been through. And I thought, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Why do you want to get, you need to feed off that you know, that trauma that happened, you know, your adversity that made you who you are today.
Yeah.
And feed off it and use it to your benefit, rather than giving you that negativity.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's that turn on words and phrases and viewpoint as well, to actually, we all go through our lives and we all hit trauma and we all hit negative bits, but how can we take that as a learning to then move forward to make us, and it does. So not be funny, most of the times that I've gone through testing times on that, it's made me a better person coming out than when I first went in, if that makes sense.
Yes. And you know, the great phrase with that is, Stephen, that a lot of people say to me, but I don't want to do that bit. I know you're saying to me, I'll be all right, you know, and you'll realize this, you'll look back and you'll realize this, and people say, yeah, I don't want to hear that. I want to know how I'm going to get through this process. And that is a good question.
Yeah.
Because we all struggle in the process of it. We might look back and think, that's why that happened the way it did. But how am I going to get through the process? And I have a framework. It's very easy. Because like I said earlier, I'm somebody who's evidence-based and wants things easy. I don't want people to come to see me with complicated solutions of how to do something. This is easy.
Yeah.
We're going to do it easy. We're gonna find an easy way for you to go through that process.
Yeah.
So it's just two frameworks I use. One's called the charge model. I just show them to say that charge stands for your career, your health, your attitude, your relationships, your growth, and your empathy into yourself.
Yeah.
So if they look at those, I call it the charge, and that's what it stands for. And I'll say, because each one will knock on each effect.
Yes.
So I show them that. I say, if your relationship is not going right, it's going to knock on your career. It's going to knock on your health. It's going to knock on you. So we go round in the circle. So they understand that bit. The next one is just starting with the emotions, because we are emotional beings, all of us. So what's your emotion? Why are you reacting that way? Yeah. And we do the 5s, we uncover the belief, and we need to self-educate ourselves to move forward. Yeah. And I want to make it simple. I don't want to make this complicated. Like I said earlier, some people have been to see me for one session. Yeah. And I say, take this model with you, take it away with you and keep using it. And when you come through something, use it. We talk a lot about meditation, mindfulness. It can confuse people out there. Oh, I've tried mindfulness. I've tried meditation. I've tried not thinking. No. I don't say that. What I say is simplify. Let's simplify it. What we talked about today in our session, I want you to take away my model, and I want you to think about those emotions, think about the root cause, think about what you're uncovering with a cup of coffee, because you're just focusing. Yeah. If it's only for 5 minutes, go do it. You've got 5 minutes.
Yeah. And it's the bit about go and grab a coffee, take some time, have some quiet space, really think about it, to really uncover. And I love that there. I have models, and only a couple of models like you that I use. And people go, oh wow, is that all you use? Yeah, that's all we need.
That's it.
To really uncover, but to give you that space. And our skill set is the questions we use and the viewpoints and the turning to get people to look at it in different ways. And what would you say is the biggest benefits you've seen, people you've coached or you've seen coach? What are the biggest benefits you've seen that they've gone through?
One things that stick with me are when I do a group session and we get the groups talking. I love it. I love people, because it's not about me. I show them the tool, give me something, or I say to the session, who's comfortable to speak, it's all in confidence. Give me something, let's work on this. And on the spot, you can work with somebody and they just sit there and they think, do you know what? I never thought of it that way. And one lady came to me and said I was going to go off sick because I just couldn't get my mind to think that this isn't going to work out. This isn't going to happen. This isn't going to, I can't see through this. And going off sick, we don't want people to go off sick. I don't want you to go off with stress. Stress is a great word that people use constantly all the time. And we're getting children using it. What is going on? We need to stop using that word so lightly.
Yeah.
And say, I'm having a moment. Yeah. This is just a moment in my life or in my day or in my life. I can manage it. Yeah. And I'll help you manage that. So that's what coaches do. And the benefit you see from people, I get emails a lot of the time from people saying, we haven't had a session for a while. We need another session. So I get called upon to just do refreshers, and because guess what? Life takes over. Yeah. Life takes over. We get back to work, we start doing things, and suddenly we might fear that we're rolling a little bit backwards. But one thing that I like when I get repeated sessions is when people come that have been on quite a lot of my coaching sessions, they start coaching the others. Yeah, they start repeating things that they're taught, and I think, well, my job's done here. Yeah. They remember now. They remember, and that's where you want them to be. What they've learned, they don't forget.
Yeah, and I think the other bit, an analogy I use with people is if you watch a film on, let's say, TV, Netflix, you can watch it once and see things. You watch it again
Yes.
next time, you see different things.
Yeah.
You watch it again. So I don't know if my wife and I must have watched Buddy the Elf at Christmas, 6, 7, 8, 9 times, and we keep
Yeah.
seeing different
Yeah.
things. And that's the point of coaching as well, is people take away what
Yes.
they need or want from that session, but then they come back and there's something else that they can find and develop and work on. So it gets to see it from a different perspective as well. So they get to see it more often rather than just one size and disappear and get on with it, if that makes sense. So very corny analogy, but anyone that's a Buddy the Elf fan, there we go.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with you. Definitely. Because like you said, films is a great way of describing it, isn't it? And sometimes I use imagery where people see something different to someone else.
Yeah.
And that's a key thing, because we all see the world from our experiences.
Yeah.
The world is from each of our experiences and what we've got. So the world isn't going to change. Your human psychology isn't going to change, but you can change your thought processes.
Yeah, definitely. And just at the $64 million question, what is people often ask me about my self-development or what I'm working on. What are you working on for 2023 for your project or your brand? What are you working on, Cinder?
Oh, there's lots I've got to see. There are lots I've got to do, because I live by the phrase of Gandhi. It's live as if you're going to die tomorrow and learn as if you're going to live forever. That's me. I want to live my life like that. I don't want to stop learning. How can we stop learning? But the biggest learning curve I'm doing is learning about myself first.
Yeah.
So I'm my own. I keep learning. And what happens is when I do this work with people, I learn from them. I sit back and I'm still amazed by everybody's story. So how can I not carry on doing this? How can I not carry on sharing this? How can I not want to do it? It's to, people are amazing, and they don't understand how much resilience they've got within them. It's not outside them, it's within them. And that is another great tool that I want to work with more, is to get people to understand that, because they still don't. They think that things outside them are affecting their lives. We can't stop that. Like we said, our brain tends to think in three ways. One, of things that are happening out of our control, like COVID. Nobody had control over that. Or the brain goes to thinking about what someone else is thinking.
Yeah.
Or the third one is what you think. So coaching is about making them think about what they think. Stop thinking about what someone else is thinking or what the world's happening out there, and let's bring this in. So what I want to do is carry on doing this work and sharing this work. I want to do some more learning. I've been looking into hypnosis. It's massively recognised now with the NHS as well, helping people get in that hypnosis straight purely so they can get into their subconscious. That's all it's doing.
Yeah.
Helping them get into a hypnotic state to get in their subconscious and release things that they are storing. And that is very fascinating to me. I'm fascinated by it, like you said. So there's things that I'd like to still learn more on, and things that I want to do, work more with colleagues. I want to start going, perhaps I'm very policing is my world, has been my world. So I want to move a little bit into the corporate industry, because we've got a lot of people out there that are in this world of corporate where they're really struggling. People are struggling, and we're talking more about it. I mean, you've seen the TV adverts now just saying talk, and definitely around men. I'm doing a lot of men's sessions this year, because men generally, I can't generalize all men, because some men do talk and they do like to talk, but we have a society that thinks, to be a man, you shouldn't talk about your feelings. So I want to break that stigma. And because at the moment, suicide rate it's in men is the highest.
And just to pick up on a couple of things there, just to show that you never stop learning, and like now you've got that constant learning mind, which is wonderful. And I think people often say to me, okay, so as you get older, do you stop learning? No, you just increase it. You want to more thirst for knowledge and get better. And I think there also a bit about which you said about their men with suicide and helping from that perspective. That's incredibly important. That's a market to like a marked improvement to help people and really make a difference, and especially the organisation you work with, which would be predominantly male orientated, but it would be great to see, you know, people open up and share their feelings, because it could prevent something happening, couldn't it?
Yeah, and just picking up on I have worked in a more of a male dominated organisation, but as you said, as time's gone on, been there a long time, it's very much been more equal now. We have a lot of women police officers, the equality, you know, it's changing. It's changing. And you know what? It's great to see. And the reason it's great to see is we have women police officers that are phenomenal women that do that job. I'm not a police officer, but I've worked very close with them, and I respect them so much, because they do such a wonderful job, and I've watched them struggle all through these years. And when they pair up with a male colleague, like I said earlier, sometimes that's good. Having that opposite sex to work with you and help you go to jobs. A woman can calm a situation down where the men can sometimes, men on men can cause that aggression more. So it's a great organisation to see that equality coming in as well. It can only get better.
No, it's fantastic, and it can only get better. That's the point. I think that's a really, really good phrase. So, Sinder, I think you and I can talk to ages about coaching and the benefits. We both. I mean, we had a chat once before, and we were just talking about it. So, can I just say a massive thank you for today, for coming on our podcast? I know our listeners are going to really enjoy kind of the benefits of coaching. Please connect with Sinder on LinkedIn. So Sinder Gill, you know, see the work that Sinder's doing. But can I just say a massive thank you for coming on today, Sinder? You've been a great guest, and I wish you all the very best. And I know our paths are crossing 2023, but I just want to say a massive thank you for coming on board today. I really appreciate it.
No, Stephen, the thank you is you, because like I said, I want to share this work, and you've given me a platform to share this with people. And all I say to them is go talk, go get help if you need it. Thanks, Stephen.
And as you said, Sinder, why not? Why not at the end of the day?
Why not? Exactly. Let's leave it on why not.
Yeah, wonderful.
Thanks,
thank you.
Stephen.
Thank you as much, Sinder. Thank you.